Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Grooving, shaking and baking from the Loft 100 studios.
Speaking of bacon, where's my Costa?
I can't get the salted pork meats out of my mind. I'm sorry.
Are you still on a Funyuns binge?
You know what? It's cyclical.
I discovered Funyuns again. Was in Howie was staying at the house.
Sure.
When he came to San Diego one time.
Okay.
And somehow there was a small bag of Funyuns. And this is like maybe 6 months ago. I copped that bag of Funyuns and it sat on the seat of my car, uneaten, and Mike would just circle my car.
Yep, like a shark.
Until he turned into an onion.
Yeah. No, it just all depends. Like I'll be really, really good, and then there's some days the only thing I eat are like red hot.
Like, can you drive past like a convenience store without just going?
Be strong. You're not hungry. Right into the parking lot. Funyuns, where's the Funyuns?
Is Spam a food group?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Spam is that's part of my weekend breakfast. Spam egg sandwiches.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. It's good. You know, if you don't eat a lot of it.
Can you put that ad out for another host? Because,
I know.
We got about 6 minutes left.
Yeah, there's only a little sodium in that stuff.
I think when Mike was doing his application 20 years ago when I met him, it said blood type gravy.
Yep.
When I figure out. Howie Font is here. Of course, he's our resident entrepreneur. We call him Crash. He's from New York City. He's our analyst as well. Howie, let's talk about we're in the fourth quarter, man. I mean, we are 2 weeks away.
Here.
How is that possible?
We're 2 weeks away from being panicky about not having your Thanksgiving dinner plan for November and your such. If we start the fourth quarter with politics and markets colliding, S&P down 1% on the fear that Iran may strike Israel, which they did. Yeah. Implication is obviously oil prices. Take it away. Talk about that.
Yeah, so the market has recovered from its low at the open today of about down 1%, but oil prices are still up 3%, and that's all speculative based on just news of something potentially happening. It looks like there's going to be some attack. We're not. It
looks like there's 100 ballistic missiles
affecting the market.
Yeah, here is the issue here, is that even we were talking about the International Longshoremen Association versus the U.S. Maritime deal breaking down, where that's going to could cause a supply problem, and right in the middle of this thing we call the holiday season, where demand's going to be there, that could reignite inflation. Does advancing oil prices ignite inflation like that? I mean, you saw a spike of 3% just on the news that it was going to be an attack, and now there's an attack. I can only imagine what it's going to be tomorrow. Is this something that you think, in your opinion, could put us back into the inflationary cycle that looks like we just got out of?
Yeah, it has serious danger too. And the other thing, Sully, that we didn't mention was it's going to start to get colder. And Europe has a colder winter, and they're more reliant on natural gas and oil for their heat than we are. We all have it domestic, so people don't freeze. But in Europe, people freeze, and that pushes this.
Let me give you some more. Let me give you some more good news, Howie. Institutions are going to rebalance their portfolios for the fourth quarter here coming up as well. I mean, September is the worst month for the stock market historically, other than a few Black Fridays in October. But seeing coming out of a kind of an interesting September, which was kind of against the grain, and seeing oil prices go up and going into this, what is your prognostic? What does your prognosticator say for the last quarter?
Listen. Hopefully we get past the doom and gloom. I think there's going to be some resolution to the conflicts in the Middle East, at least that is stable, maybe not done, but stable. The election's going to be over, and if we can get past the strike too, we're free and clear to, a much less risky market.
Well, I like less risky market.
For the end of the year.
Less risky is my gang name, by the way.
Yeah. How are Funyun futures looking today? Have you checked lately?
I was just listening for the sound of donut.
Live from the Loft 100 studios. As always, we really appreciate you being with us. Mike Costa, Mary Bird Godwin, Greg Todoroff, and the man wearing the beautiful, handsome green sweater. You like that? Sully. I like green
it.
Sweater. Yeah.
I think he's working you on that.
Yeah.
You know what I am? Just a week ago, Greg and I were surfing our trunks in a vest.
Yeah, true.
In 70-degree water, and now I'm willing fall to come on. Aren't you ready?
Yes. Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of feels
ready.
like it's here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Although we have somewhat of a slight heat wave this week.
We do?
That's just coming off you. It's like
And
sometimes I'm next to you. That's what I'm saying there?
I do.
Is the time?
It's happening.
Oh, the change.
There's been a few times where I'm like, turn the heater on. And I'm like, oh, damn,
And on that subject, let's
happening?
bring up Todd Rampe, our options expert. Hey, Todd.
Yeah.
Great to see you.
How you doing?
I can't even look at you.
We always give him the best intro.
Speaking of hot flashes.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I know. You coming in studio too, Todd? We've got some requests over here. You're coming to San Diego. Hey, do you know
My wife is sitting right there, so.
Yeah, but we can't see her. Doesn't matter, Don't matter where you get your appetite. As long as I come home for dinner. That's what they say. Hey, yes, this is why they don't put us. They'll put us in Bloomberg in Mexico. They won't put us in Bloomberg here in the States because of sections like this.
The bar rooms.
You are the from the Wealth Builders Institute. You are you're the stock options king, and you have sort of talked about renting shares. Do you know what I want to do? And I want to go through it again with you today. I think we should do a paper trade case study with you over the next several months.
Love it.
And figure out how people can actually learn how to do this, and not suggesting that we can do your whole seminar, in 10, 15-minute increments on the TV. But I think if we do it every week or a couple times a week to where you're on and teaching us how to do this, I think there's a way for people to get involved in the stock market. Look, the stock market is not the economy. I say it all the time. 100% of us participate in the economy. I think it's about 47% of us participate in the stock market. Got up to 58% during COVID. But more people, don't you think, Todd, would get involved in the stock market if they knew they didn't have to save up 50 grand? They could do it with $5,000 or $10,000 at a time?
100%. And I have the perfect strategy to do that paper trade test with you. It requires my favorite trade. It's called a slingshot trade. I can teach anybody how to do it in probably 30 minutes. And it's something that happens anywhere from about 2 to 6 times a day. And anybody in the studio can follow along once you see the rules of engagement. And it would be a great thing to do on a day-by-day, week-by-week basis so you can see exactly how effective this strategy is.
Hey, Todd, there's only 2 paths to wealth in this country. You either have to own real estate or you have to own a business. Owning a piece of stock or an option is owning a business. If you own 1 share of Apple, you're owning a business. Yep. You're owning a percentage of the business. And I think, to your point, I hear you say all the time that people don't know where to turn to achieve what you call a comfortable life. And you could be a 9-to-5er. You could be a part-timer and still do this, correct?
Yes. As a matter of fact, my most successful students only trade about 2 hours a day. They trade from the opening bell to typically what I call the morning lunch, the lunch hour and the morning session. And they realize that if they sit and wait patiently and only take the best of the best trades, the ones that I call A plus high value trades, everybody calls them high probability trades, that they don't have to trade very often. They can get in, out, and be down the road.
Todd, the interesting part of this thing is that I, like you, think that trading options is the world's greatest business. Now, people have watched me listen to me for over 30 years on the radio and watch this for over 16 or 17 years on TV, and they hear me day trade. Only a very small percentage of my portfolio do I day trade, but I do day trade for a couple of reasons. Number one, it helps for me to tell you how to trade stocks. But now I've got a partner in crime, and I'm the Robin to his Batman on this one, Todd Rampe. Todd, I want you to talk about Wealth Builders Institute, because you take people through this, and tell our audience who didn't catch you last time, who's about to see you on a frequent basis, what exactly options trading is.
Options trade, you said it. You said it the last time I was on, and you just said it again. Options trading is renting the share of stock. So you don't have, or 100 shares per contract is literally what it is. That way you don't have to come out of pocket a tremendous amount of money to participate in trading stocks. The only downside is that they have an expiration. I can't remember what the exact definition of options is, but it's something like, buying a predetermined asset at a predetermined price and having it expire by a predetermined time, something like that. And being able to come in and get in and out of the market, which, by the way, most people are more comfortable, even though, there are three types of trading, three types of markets. It's buy and hold, it's swing trading, and it's day trading. And everybody looks at day trading like, oh, that's gambling, until they realize you're in and out and you're safe. Like I said last time.
In the same day, correct?
In the same day.
Yeah.
We're in cash at the closing bell. Yep.
Todd Rampe is the founder of the Wealth Builders Institute. Find out all about him and Wealth Builders Institute at wealthbuildersinstitute.com. Todd, so are slingshots going up in price or are they going down in price? No.
Remember the wrist rocket?
Yeah.
Man.
Hey, when
Todd,
you see the pattern, you clearly see it, and it doesn't matter if the market's going up or down. We have slingshots to the upside, slingshots to the downside.
Somebody who is standing on square zero and is like, oh my God, Todd, I want to do this. I want to do it with you. What is their biggest mental hurdle?
It's got to be risk. It has to be risk.
Is it risk, or is it you're speaking Russian to me right now. Okay. What is it?
There are two emotions in trading, and that's it: fear and greed. And
market runs on two emotions: fear and greed. Rusty Nails used to say it runs on beer and weed, but it's fear and greed. Continue, sir.
That's back. That's back when it was illegal.
Yeah,
now it's legal.
Yeah, it's not even any fun anymore. Hey, as you're explaining this, I also want you to take consideration in your answer here in terms of the two factors that people are thinking. You've got people that will only do something if it's 100% risk-free, like your parents that are 90 years old. Mm-hmm. Then you've got moderate risk and you've got low risk. That's got to be part of what they're concerned with, right?
Definitely. And one of the things that I drill into every student's head is that you have to mitigate risk. You have to get into a trade and immediately put your stop in, a very small stop, so that you don't risk a lot of money and have that potentially wake you up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat wondering what the hell you did.
So that's what I talk about in my trading when I talk about day trading. It's called refuse to lose. I refuse to lose 5%. I put a trailing stop in. The second I buy a stock, I sell it. Or at least I put an order in to sell it, and a 5% trailing stop is what he's talking about. And what that means is you can set it and forget it. It means that, again, in the middle of the night, or if you wake up in the morning and the market's open here on the West Coast at 6:30, the East Coast, they open up at 9:30 in the morning, and you've missed that because of a meeting or you're sleeping, stock went down 10%. Well, you got out when it lost 5%. You refused to lose 5%. It's sort of the same thing you're talking about here, correct?
Yep, definitely. And when you get into one of my qualified trades, you immediately put that 15-cent stop on the option, but you also have a predetermined amount that you're basically a target to get out. And it's not based on, hey, I want to make $500 or 5,000. It has nothing to do with the money. It has everything to do with the average move that the stock makes during the day. They cycle in average moves. And I would be willing to bet that not 1 in 20,000 traders knows what I'm talking about. But I'll tell you what it is right now. It's $1.
Listen to me. I think you need to be on on one of our blocks every single day, and we go through and we take a watch on this every single day. I seriously, talk to us. So talk about this dollar you're talking about here.
Okay, so you get into Tesla, and by the way, Mike, I emailed you a copy of a trade that I took, I think it was Thursday or Friday, just so you can see what my charts look like. You see my matrix, it's real.
Stock symbol TSLA, by the way, Tesla. All right, continue, Todd. Let's take us through this.
So you get into let's say you get into Tesla and it's round numbers, $200. During the day, the price of Tesla, or any stock for that matter, will cycle. And they cycle usually in $1 increments. They'll go up $1, sideways a little bit, come down. And most people don't realize that. So when they get in, they think, oh, I'm in the trade, so I'm going to hang on till it goes to the moon. I'm going to make a ton of money. Stinking thinking. You have to get in. You have to understand that if the average move is $1, set your profit target there and get out and wait for the next trade to set up and just repeat the process.
And if we were to start a paper trade, let's say with $10,000 in our account, what would be step one, Todd?
Step one is you're going to paper trade. I mean, if you look at my my rules, I say to every new student, take 50 paper trades. And once you maintain at least a 60% win rate, then move into the second phase of the training where you're going to trade one contract. So you have a little skin in the game, but it's not enough money that's going to make or break you if you lose it. And I also have a hard and fast rule that if you ever take 3 losing trades in a row following my system, you need to stop what you're doing because you're doing something wrong. You need to pick up the phone and call me.
Todd, next time we're on the air, let's start the process of taking people through this paper trade. How do people get a hold of you? How do people get involved in the Wealth Institute, Wealth Builders Institute? You can also go to wealthbuildersinstitute.com, but people want to work with you, man. How do we get a hold of you?
You can also call us at 1-800-881-5252.
800-881-5252. I'm just fascinated by this because this is going to get more people to market. Now, I see you actually wanting to participate now.
I know, I'm perking up.
Buddy, I'll see you next week. Thanks, pal. Appreciate it.
Todd.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I want him on every single day.
Yep. It is time for the Sports Biz Minute. It's brought to you, as always, by the great people at Prize Picks, the largest daily fantasy platform out there. It's so simple to sign up. Just go to prizepicks.com. All right, we're going to start off in baseball. An 18-year-old fan is suing collectibles marketplace Golden for the ownership rights to Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani's 50th home run ball. Attorneys for Max Mattis, who says he grabbed the ball before it was taken from him as a result of civil battery, filed a lawsuit in Florida seeking to stop the sale of the collectible. The sale is set to open for bidding tomorrow on eBay with an opening bid of $500,000. Bidders will be able to purchase the ball outright for $4.5 million up until October 9th. So we'll see how the lawsuit pans out. UFC news. The UFC has reached a new settlement in one of its antitrust lawsuits and hopes a judge will greenlight it. TKO Group, UFC's parent company, reached an agreement with the plaintiffs of Lee versus Zuffa that will pay $375 million in the class action lawsuit in which former fighters allege the MMA promotion violated antitrust laws. The lawsuit dates to 2014 when the UFC was accused of violating laws by paying UFC fighters less than they were entitled to and hurting other MMA promoters with those practices. Finally, in college sports, Air Force and UNLV expected to remain in the Mountain West Conference. Both schools were incentivized to stay with significant financial packages made possible in part by the collective exit fees. The conference's 5 departing members, which are Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, and Utah State, will be responsible for paying to leave for the Pac-12. Each school expected to pay roughly $18 million to depart. That's the Sports Biz Minute, brought to you by Prize Picks, the largest daily fantasy platform out there. So simple to sign up. Just go to prizepicks.com. Once again, here's Sully. I'm Costa. That's Mary Godwin. Greg Todd, our executive producer, of course. Sully, getting his papers in order. I got my stocks right here.
Yeah,
Perfect.
there it is.
Ever seen a stock certificate?
Yeah, my parents still have them.
They still have them?
Yeah, in a manila folder.
Oh, that's safe.
And if
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like keeping $50 bills in a manila folder. Hey, I got to say, put your paycheck under the windshield wiper. Should be safe.
Exactly.
It's a lit parking lot. Should be okay.
There's security.
Big Biz Show. Great to have you along today. Big hello to the Day Trader Trio.
Best in the business.
There you go.
Boom.
Tim Smith is the CEO of U.S. Goldmining, Inc. Of course, he has been our gold expert here for the last month or so. usgoldmining.us. And of course, he had the safest job in the world with the largest gold miner, Newmont. And he decided to go run his own publicly traded company because of the fact that it was such a great opportunity. And we're here to talk to him once again about the state of the art, or the state of the union in gold here, as well as what's going on with his company. Tim, good to have you along again, pal. How are you?
Great, Sully. Thanks for having me on again.
What's the latest in overview for the gold market as it relates to what's happened with the Fed and inflation numbers and interest rates and so on and so forth? Has it affected gold as many thought it would, or is gold still as strong as it has been over the last couple of years?
Well, it seems like every day right now we're hitting a new high. It's $2,670 today. It's up over 30% for the year. I think we're going to continue to see strong gold price, and there's a lot of drivers behind that. Certainly the high inflation over the last few years. Investors who have wanted to diversify away from the dollar, because of course there's no point leaving your money in the bank and watching it erode in value. So investors are looking for that store of value that gold can bring. It's a great option. So whether it's bullion or an ETF or a stock in a gold explorer or a miner, it's a great investment option right now.
In terms of what you guys are doing with the Whistler Gold Copper project, what makes this thing stand out to you still? Because if you look at your website, this is the marquee sort of flag that you guys have planted in the sand here.
Yeah, look, we think this is a company maker. It's a big gold copper deposit. It's one of the largest undeveloped resources in North America. It's the closest undeveloped resource to Alaska's largest city of Anchorage. It's just 100 miles away. So we think it has tremendous upside. It has size, it has quality, it has proximity to infrastructure. And we're working to grow that via our summer drilling program that is underway right now. And we're looking forward to being able to announce expansion to the existing resources and potentially over time to make new discoveries.
Tim Smith, the CEO of U.S. Goldmining, Inc., their ticker symbol USGO. Tim, you cannot watch a TV commercial or listen to the radio without hearing a gold commercial on it. I mean, it seems like they are all over the place these days. So you talk about the price going up. Are people just buying more gold? Is that why it's going up like it is?
Yeah, well, that, and I think the demand is certainly up, but I think the supply is starting to come under pressure. We're seeing that the central banks globally are buying, so there's a lot more demand there. Mm-hmm. And longer term, the gold reserves, so these are the reserves in the ground that are owned by the big companies, the mine producers. Those reserves are dwindling. So that's starting to have some pressure on supply. As gold price has increased, they have, in some instances, been able to increase their production to make more gold, more money in the short term. But with those reserves going down, that's something that's not going to be sustainable. And the big companies, they're not exploring, so they're not able to replace their depleting reserves. And so we're actually forecasting further consolidation in our market because the majors and the mid-tiers are going to need to actively look for world-class sizable deposits in safe jurisdictions, just like our Whistler deposit, as part of their acquisition strategy for their long-term mine development portfolio in order to be able to sustain their production.
The name of the company, of course, U.S. Goldmining, Inc., stock symbol USGO. USGO, of course, Tim Smith is the CEO. Last of all, Tim, for you, what are strategic plans for the last quarter of the year, and then what can you share with us for the first let's say, 2 quarters of 2025?
Sure. So the last quarter of the year, look for drill results coming out. We've been really busy basically generating data over the summer. That's what summer is all about, getting into the field, drilling lots of meters, generating lots of data. We're going to start seeing those results coming back from the lab. So we're going to have news flow coming out in Q4 around what those drill results look like. And then longer term, we'll be taking those results and updating our geologic model and our resource model, and ultimately blending that into a mine plan to really study the economics of what we think will be a very strong and compelling future mine development opportunity in Alaska.
Tim Smith, the CEO of U.S. Goldmining, Inc., their ticker symbol USGO. Tim, always appreciate it. Always appreciate the education. It was golden.
It's the Gold Corner Minute with Tim Smith.
It was gold, right, as they say.
It was gold. Thank you, Tim. We'll talk soon. Good guy. All right, Big Biz Show, bigbizshow.com is our website. Mike'sNotThatFunny.com is Mike's website. What is the name of that shirt again?
For animals.
No.
Southern Tide.
What's it called?
Skipjack. Southern Tide.
Southern Tide. Can't get it completely tied.
That's take it down south. The Big Biz Show for the Loft 100 Studios. Hope you guys are having a great day. We certainly are. Here in sunny Southern California, Costa, Marybird Godwin, Greg Todoroff, and of course, Sully.
Yeah. Okay. 3.
Whoa.
Do you remember, for us in San Diego, where we broadcast from, we had a citywide power outage that came from somebody clipped the red wire versus the black wire in Arizona when they were doing some digging or something. But it rose to concern whereby you figured one hitch in the giddy up could shut our power system down or could shut our financial system down. And of course, companies, even our phones, use things like pass keys and such.
Remember, hospitals were
exactly right.
in San Diego.
It just means that we need to spend more time talking about cybersecurity, access management security, identity security. Here to talk about that, one of the shareholders of this company, BKYI is the name of the company, Bio-Key International. One of the shareholders of this company contacted us originally about this, and of course, Mike DePasquale is the chairman and CEO. He's the expert on this, so we thought we'd bring him back on the air. And of course, there he is. Michael, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Sully. It's great to be back with you again.
Great to see you again, and I want to talk a little bit about what you guys do in a minute, but at the same time, I want to talk about how the need has changed, because you were one of the first persons I interviewed back when Russ was a partner, when he was, God bless his soul, when he was alive, about this. And I think a big piece of this comes down to the bad guys got smarter as we started girding our loins for this, and you guys specifically. Because I remember, we had a lot of success with you in getting the story out and so on and so forth, but still, man, these guys keep coming back and you guys have to change. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think we all know the intuitive answer to that question is the world isn't getting safer, and the hackers are accelerating their attacks on enterprises, government agencies, worldwide, right? The Eastern Bloc, the Chinese have been very aggressive in trying to hack, in particular, companies that house consumer data.
Sure.
And that affects every one of us, right, as individuals. So it has accelerated. It's gotten worse. It used to be, I guess, probably when we first spoke, maybe it was one a month. Once every 2 weeks, you heard about a hack. Now it's multiple hacks daily.
I think the piece of this is I think we've taken for granted. Now that we've got biometric stuff on our phone, and you see passkey, and you see just as consumers, as a group, we've taken for granted that everything's okay. But this is an ongoing, ever-present certain situation, is it not?
It absolutely is, and when you look at the core technologies that are available to protect ourselves, pins, passwords, the things that we're using every day just don't work anymore. And most of the technology companies are advocating for passkeys and for biometrics to be used in a multi-factor authentication venue to protect us. And that's what we're in the heart of right now. So we have over 700 customers globally that utilize our solutions in different ways, in different fashions. We offer 16 factors of authentication that they can use, so they can select from things that work for them and make sense for the enterprise, the customer, the end-use customer as well.
Hey, Mike, talk about the top-down, what you guys do at Bio-Key. I mean, you have a number of you've got a number of solutions that you just referred to, but give us the elevator pitch on exactly what Bio-Key does.
Yeah, so we provide strong authentication, multi-factor authentication solutions for virtually any venue and any application and any portal that you might access. So you think about what you're using today. You're using a password, a PIN, a token. You might be using a passkey, and that works. However, if you kind of step back and look at the enterprise, which is where we're really fundamentally focused, enterprises require a lot more security, and they require different types of security. So, for example, if you work on the manufacturing floor or you work in the call center, they don't want you using a phone. They don't want to plug a token into a USB port on a kiosk, because that could be very dangerous depending upon where you are. So what differentiates Bio-Key in this whole world of identity and access management is our flexibility in providing different biometric options, including palm scans, facial scans, and fingerprint, to augment those applications, again, where typically people are using a phone. I would venture a guess and say that the majority of your listeners right now have utilized multi-factor authentication on a phone. They've gotten an SMS text message to verify, right, when they're accessing an account, that it's really them. That works, but it doesn't work in every application and every area in the enterprise.
Sure.
Mike DePasquale is the chairman CEO of Bio-Key International Incorporated, ticker symbol is BKYI. Mike, as far as the bad actors out there that are trying to, get us here in the United States as far as stealing our information, all things like that, is it a tidal wave? I mean, do we have like our hand in the hole in the dam, but the thing's breaking around us? What is the level of it that we're dealing with in the United States?
Oh, it's significant. And in fact, so significant that at the end of last year, the SEC requires all listed companies to report any penetration or a hack within 3 days of it happening. Before that, companies were reporting it months after it happened, and consumers were exposed, especially if that consumer data was hacked in that particular event. So we're in a tidal wave stage. Again, the hackers, as Sully mentioned before, tend to be, a quarter of a step or a half a step ahead of us. And unfortunately, enterprises are not using all the tools that are available to them to protect themselves.
Hey, Mike, you mentioned the biometrics and the different ways that people, like the palm scan and the face scan. Like, I use my face recognition on my phone and different places just on my personal use. And it's so convenient, but then I also think, is this going to be turned around on me someday, that it could be used in bad actors could then use it against me? Or I don't know. It makes people nervous, me and other people, but it's so easy. But yet I feel like there could be some bad actors that do something negative with it.
Yeah, well, look, any technology, you remember the advent of the internet, right? When it came along and everyone was using the internet, there were great things that, enabled, right, access to everything. And there's also, again, access to everything and access to bad things. So any technology has that upside and downside. But biometrics have been used now for many, many years to secure access to devices and to applications. Good quality biometrics have all of the stopgaps embedded in them to be able to stop that kind of a threat, meaning that your biometric would be stolen, it could be used or duplicated or replicated. So again, the kind of technology that we provide, because we're very, very focused on the high end of the market in enterprise and in governments, is very, very secure. I never say never, but it's probably the most secure, convenient technology you can utilize today.
Okay, and you mentioned the term passkey, and I wanted to know how that relates to, because I keep hearing that word all the time come up, password versus passkey, and I'm not sure I understand what that means. Can you elaborate on that?
It's kind of an exciting thing, actually. Think about it.
Yeah, so passkeys are a security, they're an advanced security methodology that has you utilize your device, right, as a factor of authentication that's registered in some sort of a central authority. So companies like Microsoft and Google are rapidly adopting passkeys. But again, if you think about the basic passkey, it's typically utilizing your mobile device or your phone.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good for consumers, but on the business end, on the enterprise side of things, where a phone cannot be utilized, our technology, our new PasskeyU technology that incorporates a biometric in place of that device, is an easier, more convenient way for individuals to authenticate themselves.
Mike, I got to ask you before we let you out, and I want to get you back on a regular basis. I mean, it's just so interesting, and the timing's right for you. And once again, there's talk about BKYI, Bio-Key International. Mike DePasquale is the chairman and CEO. So talk about what's next for the company, in so much as you can as a CEO of a publicly traded company. What's up for the next 12 months, 18 months for you? What are you looking forward to?
It's really scaling and strategic relationships. We have built this technology over the last 20 years to get to the point where we are today. And now it's mainstreaming. And so it's all about growth. It's all about scaling our business. It's about getting our company to profitability and to continue to grow and develop and really create visibility for our differentiators, for what we're bringing to the table.
Mike, can't wait to have you back on, man. This is something that's going on that, like you talked about, it's a tidal wave we're going to have to deal with, and we're interested in talking with you more. Thanks for the time today. Mike DePasquale.
Good to see you, man. Glad you're back.
Chairman, CEO, Bio-Key International Incorporated's ticker symbol is BKYI. Keep it here. More Big Biz after this. Show continues. Southern California, Loft 100 Studios. Hope everyone's having a great day. Thanks for being along for this crazy ride. Costa, Mary Bird Godwin, Greg Todorov, our executive producer, and of course, Sully.
Big Biz Show. Thanks for swinging by today. So good. Let's talk to Eric Dresselhuys, CEO of S Inc. GWH is their stock symbol. GWH had a huge announcement in Australia this week, and I wanted to unpack that because, again, talking about long duration energy storage, it's safe, and of course, this chimes into an election that's coming up. It chimes into many states of the union where we are in California here. I know many of you are watching television in other countries and listening to us in other states and cities as well. But boy, it's top of the news, and the importance of long duration energy storage is sort of a game changer in terms of our pocketbooks going forward. But first, let me give you Eric Dresselhuys. Eric, welcome back. Let's talk about this Australia announcement. Unpack that for us, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for ESS, and I think a big deal for the industry. What happened was, we have a partner that we work with in Australia, a company called ESI, and they were given a $65 million investment by the state government of Queensland, Australia. And that's important because they are also the largest buyer of batteries in Australia right now. They've set a target of something north of 3 or 4 gigawatts of batteries. And so this is it's an investment, it's a large commercial deal, and I think it's really going to set the tone not only for the rest of Australia, but really set a model for other countries around the world. So we're excited as we could be.
You know, one of these things we've talked about, Eric, in the past is proof of concept and adoption, and this just goes to that column, doesn't it? I mean, and you just mentioned this opens the door and on-ramps to other countries, and hopefully accelerates the U.S., correct?
Yeah, well, I think what it says to people is we've moved past the let's try it and see if we like it phase, and let's get on to doing it at scale. Because, one thing about infrastructure, whether you're building grids or highways, is it takes a long time to build it. So if you want to be somewhere, get to a destination by 2030, you better be, actively building today, or you'll just run out of time. So I think the message here is it's prime time and ready to scale.
Eric Dresselhuys, CEO of S Incorporated, ESS Incorporated, their ticker symbol GWH. Eric, the last time we had you on, we had just had a massive lithium battery fire here in San Diego. The whole county stunk like burning tires and whatnot. When incidences like that happen, nationally or internationally, do you see an uptick of either people calling you or businesses starting to talk in terms of we need to change the way the batteries we use and the way we store our energy.
And in addition to that, you were at a conference when this happened.
Yeah.
Was it even talked about then? I think you mentioned something about it.
It was all the buzz on the conference floor. I think the short answer is yes. People start to, when the first one happens, you think it's an anomaly. The second one happens, you hope it's not a trend. But I think that was the fourth lithium battery fire in San Diego County this year.
Yeah.
So at some point you just have to kind of wonder, is this really the right technology for this job? Lithium's great in your cell phone. Lithium's great at small scale, but when you do it at large scale, it shows a consistent pattern of having these kinds of safety issues. And one of the things that we see happening in the world of batteries these days is people want to put the batteries closer to where human beings live, right? Because that's where we need the resiliency and the reliability on the grid. And that's just not compatible with something that's going to have a safety issue.
The thing that's interesting here is you and I first started talking about a year or so ago, and we were talking about how we saw the long duration energy market going over the next 10 years. I got to say, that's accelerated from what you and I both thought at the very beginning. Would you agree with that at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's I suppose it's common to other technology trends we see, but these things really gain momentum. And the more we get out in the field, the more announcements we make, like the one that happened in Australia, it just kind of creates a flywheel effect to acceleration. It becomes easy for people in the world of utilities and cities and governments to do things that other people are doing. That doesn't take as much creativity. So as a younger company and a newer technology, these are all like massively energizing to the effort.
The name of the company, of course, is S Inc. GWH is a stock symbol. Eric, we ask this every time you're on there, but I'm going to continue asking this. I think it's interesting because you guys are sort of at the tip of the spear here for disruption in your business. What are you looking forward to most for the last quarter of the year, and then, of course, over the next 18 months, and as much as you can share with us?
Yeah, well, we've been really open about the fact that we're starting to turn the crank here and ramping up our manufacturing capabilities. We announced a big financing with the EXIM Bank of the U.S., the Export-Import Bank, to help use low-cost interest loans to help build the manufacturing capability on very favorable terms. So we're implementing against that and just shipping more product and continuing to work with the regulators to get the regulatory mandates moving in the right direction. And I think we're going to have a great finish to the year.
Love it.
He is Eric Dresselhuys, CEO, S Incorporated, ESS Incorporated, their ticker symbol, GWH, making big things happen.
There you go.
Eric,
Thanks, Eric.
Always appreciate it from you, man.
How's your EV?
Oh, it's good.
No, is it almost done? Because there was a tragic fender bender in the EV world. Oh. Which is a distant cousin from long-term energy storage. But I completely see that Greg's driving a rental or a borrowed now because it's not been washed in 45 days. And he is very specific about all his stuff being.
Oh, you noticed that, did you?
I hit a Tesla 2 weeks ago.
You got a Tesla?
I hit a Tesla.
You hit a Tesla?
With a van. I was driving a 15-passenger van.
God bless you. God bless you.
One at a time.
We're going to knock about one 8,000-pound car at a time.
It was a rental car, and I got the extra insurance. Bam.
See you tomorrow.
Sorry. I did.
And then she did this.
I'm out of here.
I wrote a note.
Troika is a brand consulting, creative design, and content group that holds the view that brands are a company's most valuable asset and that the most enduring brands forge strong emotional bonds with audiences and supporters. To assist brands in converting audiences into ardent fans, they adopt a fan-centric perspective that guides the way they think, create, and design. Their craft is a blend of art and strategic thinking to create a holistic and meaningful brand experience that builds highly engaged, loyal audiences. Using immersive live experiences, brand partnerships, PR, social media, and influencer marketing, Mission is a communications company that helps brands stand out by interacting with consumers from a cultural perspective.